My name is John Martin from Additional Income. It's a page, Facebook page, where we share ideas. One, if you're an entrepreneur, how to get your idea out of your head and into the world. But we're also going to be showcasing careers. And tonight I have the awesome opportunity to interview one of my good friends, Justin Santolaya. And he's a very successful real estate agent in the San Diego area. And I'd like to pick his brain a little bit tonight, see what makes him stand head and shoulders above the competition in San Diego. Justin, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been a while since we've seen each other, so it's great seeing you on the cam here, and yeah, look forward to answering all your questions.
Awesome, man. I've got plenty. So, if you could tell us kind of who you are, when you got started with in real estate. Just to preface, Justin runs Next Home Bella Properties in San Diego. I met him a couple of years ago, and he was helping me and my wife look for a home in the San Diego area. The guy is relentless. So please, if you could tell us a little bit about how long you've been doing it, what you specialize in, and take it away.
Yeah, so I got into real estate way back in the day, 2000. When I graduated college in 2009. I got into real estate on the commercial side, doing property management in 2010. So if you guys recall that year, it was kind of chaotic, with the whole housing market. So I did property management for several years, and I realized that I really enjoyed meeting people out in the field and being on the sales portion, showing people their future homes. I got a lot of joy out of meeting different people such as yourself.
Yeah.
Showing them their future houses and really helping them with the entire process, because a lot of these home buyers and sellers, they're not really, I really enjoyed helping them get.
Looks like we're having a little bit of trouble with
through those hard portion. Probably around 20, about 2 years after I got into commercial, so that's around 2012. And a lot of people are like, hey, it's kind of crazy. You're leaving a salary-based job for a commission-based job.
Right.
And, I'm a young guy at the time. I think I'm still pretty young. But so it was kind of like a dive in the deep end. I just jumped right into it. I had no savings. I barely had maybe like a couple of months worth of, rent money saved up at the time. Sure. But I knew I had to make a change, because at the previous company that I was at, I had already hit the ceiling, the financial cap there. So you know what? I was going to say, hey, sky's the limit here. I'm just going to jump into it. We'll see what happens. The worst thing that could happen is, I get kicked out of my apartment. So I just went for it. So just worked really hard day in, day out, and started really picking up momentum, meeting a lot of clients. I found that my strategy was more of open houses and meeting people face to face versus the whole cold calling.
Sure.
Those that are interested in real estate, you'll notice that there are avenues that you can kind of pick or implement all of them. Door knocking, open houses, cold calling. I mean, there's a lot of variety of strategies out there. You just kind of pick the ones that work for you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've been in it, for many years, and it probably took me about a couple of years to finally buy my own place. So every year it's just been, getting better and better. So it's been great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, the market you talked about a little bit in 2010. I think I have a feeling there's probably quite a few people in the real estate arena that kind of thought, what am I doing with my life right now? Because it took, at least in California, I know everybody took a hard hit in the economic downturn. Do you feel like, looking back on it now and kind of in hindsight, do you feel like maybe that was a writing on the wall moment where it's kind of a sink or swim type of a thing, and you're like, hey, I'm going to do this, or what?
Yeah. 100%, at the time, I really didn't know any different. So I was, going into it, I figured this is how it is. Mm-hmm. So just really adapting to the current market and just doing what you need to do. The market changes year to year. There's really no great time to get into it. I mean, any time is great, to be honest. And there's a lot of opportunities every year. So one year, if you're a real estate investor, foreclosures might be the thing.
Right.
The next year, flipping properties might be the thing. In other types of markets, the buy and hold strategy is definitely the best strategy for that year. So every year the market changes, and your strategy should also change too. There's many ways to actually make money in real estate, not just selling it. So you have acquiring rentals, you have wholesaling, you have flipping properties, you have tax liens. There's a huge amount of different kinds of avenues you can always take that will allow you to really make a good amount of money in real estate.
Mm-hmm. And of those, the ones that you had just listed, what do you prefer? I mean, I know you said you enjoy doing the home showings, and I know you love handing the keys over to new owners. But as far as to fill that time, and I think that that's a lot of time, when people think about real estate agent, maybe they think to themselves, they just sell homes, and that's not the case. There's quite a bit more to the scenario, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole the realtor game really takes up the majority of my time. I can tell you where I want to be as my end game, and that's to acquire rental properties.
Mm-hmm.
So rental properties are really that's going to be something that I'm going to start shifting my focus towards now to acquire these things because I want to set up my retirement. I would like passive income to start coming in. The whole real estate game as a realtor, it's an all-day thing because you're not handed leads.
Right.
You actually need to get out there and actually meet them. You don't meet people, you don't close deals, and you don't make money. So actually getting out there, always improving your skill sets, your negotiation skills, the way you meet people, and the way you can actually get people to start working with you. It's always it's a constant improvement game, and it's really it's not really a 9 to 5. It's like a 24/7 kind of ordeal.
Yeah.
So getting out there, and it's just meeting people is really the tasking part as a realtor, for sure.
So it's definitely unusual hours. I'm sure shop hours are not you get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you get to the office at 8 o'clock, and you stay in your office until 5 o'clock, and you cut bait. This. I remember calling you a couple of times. You sent me lists, and I've got to tell you, this is why I know that you are a successful real estate agent, is you are committed to doing what you say you're going to do. And I think that, a lot of times probably in any business, when you're starting out, you better be as good as your word. And I remember the first day we met you over in Lemon Grove. I believe you're somewhere in that area.
Valley area, yeah. That one rental property that I had listed, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember you had texted like 2 or 3 times. Now, you didn't know at the time, but we had already contacted 3 different real estate agents, and it was a matter of they didn't even call back, or they set up a time to go look at a house, and then they'd have some reason why they couldn't make it. And that was one of the things that I really appreciated about Justin was that, when he said he was going to be somewhere, the man was there. And if he wasn't there, he would give you about 3 reasons why he would be there in the next 5 minutes. So no, I think that's definitely, and that work ethic doesn't come naturally. I mean, I noticed that you went to an entrepreneurial school, Johnson and Wales. I mean, so entrepreneurship has been in your blood for quite a while, correct?
Absolutely. So in college, I took entrepreneurship with a concentration in real estate, but I think really my work ethic and just my overall bearing was due to I went to the Marine Military Academy in Harlingen, Texas throughout high school.
Uh-huh.
So that really set the pace. It was really the foundation of my. I took a lot of that and a lot of what I learned in college, and quite a blessing.
Yeah, definitely. And mentorship. Did you have anybody in particular that stood out to you as the person that kind of helped you, really kind of get a clear direction? Was there anybody that stands out as far as somebody that you could look to as a mentor?
Absolutely. And that's a very important thing that you just said is the mentorship. And at different points of my life, I had different mentors. We grow as people, both personally and business-wise. And I'd say growing up, my father was pretty much a huge influence in my life, always pointing me in the right direction. I left the house to attend military school at 16, and then since then, I moved to another state, another country. And so when I got here to San Diego, I was by myself at this internship, which turned into a full-time thing, and then I got to sales. I had a lot of negative mentors, a lot of people that I said I don't want to be like them. I want to be the complete opposite. So I took some of the bad mentors I had to improve myself. And then recently, the owner of our brokerage, his name is Sasha Garniski, great guy. We met a few years ago. That's when I left Keller Williams to join the Next Home branch. He has been a huge, huge impact on my life too, because he's one of those bosses that really takes care of his people. Someone who really looks out for his employees, but also cares about their financial well-being. Is he getting enough materials to make money?
Yeah.
Am I giving the right advice? Am I keeping him pumped up and motivated 24/7? Because this game can be very, you can lose your morale, you can lose a lot of energy just for whatever reason. So he's been a great mentor, really supporting. And again, for those that don't have any mentors, look at the ones that were bad mentors or had a negative impact on you. I had a bunch of those when I first got into the game, and I think by learning from their mistakes and how bad of a job they did, definitely improved me and how I treat my team members for sure.
Yeah. What about the everybody makes mistakes. I mean, when you basically decide to quit the 9 to 5 and take on this, sometimes a very scary choice to just drop that security, I guess, that security blanket and say, look, I'm not happy doing this. So I'm going to step out. It was kind of a step out in faith, for a lot of people to put away the 9 to 5. And you know what? I'm going to trust these thoughts. I'm going to trust these ideas that these things are valuable as well. What were the mistakes? I mean, what were some of the things that you can think back on and you go, man, if I had it to do over again, I wouldn't do it that way. But what did you learn from the mistakes?
Well, if I could go back in time with what I know now, I would have definitely invested a lot more money in Bitcoin.
In Bitcoin. Yeah.
I would definitely learn how to leverage my time a little bit better. Sometimes hard work is not necessarily profitable.
Right.
So learning how to leverage your time and how to, even if you have to pay someone to do some of the small tasks that you don't want to do, that takes up your time, that really bites into your productivity time, it's a great investment. So I would do everything in my business, everything, and the paperwork, everything that was involved in the whole transaction. I was there, photographer, I was there for everything. So I lost a lot of man hours doing things that I didn't really do myself, which to either improve my skills or meet more clients. So again, I would go back and tell myself in the hours that you can hand off to somebody else. Pushing your time is key.
Yeah, building, being able to trust and rely on individuals to do, building a team. I mean, I'm assuming you probably have a photographer now. I mean, you're doing pretty well in the game. I'm sure you have hired a professional photographer for most of the listing type stuff. I used to do that with my grandmother. She would do appraisals on homes, and she was meticulous. I mean, that was back when they used to draw it on the board. She had her graph paper, and I'd take the tape and I'd run to one end of the house, and she would. So
I was leveraging her time with you.
Yeah, it was wonderful time. And actually, I learned a lot from her. And as far as work ethic and things like that, just because you're working doesn't mean that you can't learn. You learn from important people in your life at the same time. But yeah, no, I think that definitely a lot of people, especially people starting out, they think they need to do everything. Yeah. And
Exactly.
so it's like you can spend a lot of time and you think you're being productive, but you really, if you were just smart and reach out to somebody that's pretty good got a good eye with a camera or good administratively, I mean, you can make more productive, use of your time. And that's an interesting takeaway from that. And so how many, like on the average day, I mean, and I know that it's going to change from day to day, but
Sure.
is there a rule of thumb that you use to determine how much time you spend for a listing, or with a particular customer, to where it's not like, you're spending the entire day driving around the entire city of San Diego just because somebody, is that something that factors into your daily planning?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. At some point, you gotta, you definitely want to time block your schedule. So I have a calendar that, certain hours of the day are reserved for certain things. And I try my best not to let, external factors disrupt that. So if I'm making calls from, 10 to 11, I'm making calls 10 to 11. It's really easy to get sidetracked, especially when someone calls you, like an appraisal didn't come in, and that takes up hours of your day. So it's really trying to stay focused on the productivity of your business. What is really making the money versus are you just putting out flyers or running around doing errands. In terms of working with clients, I think that's a problem that I have, that sometimes I have a hard time letting go of clients that maybe may not ever turn into business. I like to help everybody. So, at that point, I kind of decide, all right, I mean, is this particular client actually realistic? I think it's not a factor of not finding them something. It's more of like, are they just being realistic or not? And that's when I ultimately decide, okay, I don't think I can help you, or I can still help you, but let's just keep at it. So I've had clients that took me a year and a half to find them a house, and we got it, right?
Yeah.
So keep on working with them. And it wasn't really that that they didn't want it. It was just that the criteria that they had was a little bit difficult to find. There have been others where I had to let them go right off the back because
completely unrealistic type thing.
Yeah, just completely unrealistic, and then also no loyalty to either party. So they would use other realtors, take up your time. That's when I kind of cut it off. But yeah, if they're committed and the relationship is there's some loyalty there, I usually stick it out with them.
Yeah, that's an important thing. I mean, I think that a lot of people don't realize, they see it as you're kind of a means to an end to see a place, but it's your livelihood as well. So you have to be good at saying, look, I appreciate the opportunity to show you, I guess, but I need to also focus on my making money because it is commission based. I mean,
your time too, because you only get X amount of day or days in a week, hours in a day. So again, it's really pinpointing, what hours, what are you doing in the day that's actually really making you money, and anything that's not is really, I mean, if you can't leverage it out, just get rid of it.
Yeah, definitely. Now, we had talked the other day, and you had mentioned that there's ways, because since my additional income page talks specifically about ways that you can make extra money at home, but you had mentioned that there's kind of a little known secret way to make money by a referral system, correct? Is that kind of basically what it is?
Absolutely. So with referral system in terms of like handing off someone looking to shop for a house, like my friend is looking to buy a house, let me refer him to you. That is also a great way to get some referral fees. The one that we were chatting about is called wholesaling. So one of many different avenues that you can check out when it comes to making money in real estate and not necessarily being licensed is the wholesale option. So it's kind of like you're looking for flip properties. So if you live in a neighborhood with 1,000 homes, one day take a drive around the neighborhood, see what homes are really messed up and dumpy, and then make them an offer to purchase it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't necessarily have to close the deal. I'll get more into it if anybody has questions, but
Okay.
basically, in a nutshell, is you can knock on the door, find a way to contact them, say, hey, I'll buy your house, get them into contract, and then sell the contract off to an investor who comes in and closes it out, and you get a fee.
Wow.
That's wholesaling. So it's kind of like a referral fee as well,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a little bit it's much larger. It really depends on also your fee can range from $1,000 to I've seen somebody make over $100,000 because of the price that they acquired the contract at.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things that it's kind of like you got to put the flipper mentality on, see what homes in your neighborhood need a lot of work and that might be interested in selling.
Mm-hmm.
Chat with the owner, make him an offer. Naturally, if you have realtor friends that you can work with to help you out, you could definitely ask for their advice to kind of know what things are selling for in the neighborhood.
Right.
Try to really get that property at a discount and then sell off the contract. That's wholesale. That's the one that you and I were talking about.
Yeah, that sounded very interesting. The way you were explaining it the other day, and that's something that anybody could do. I mean, you're taking the kids to school, and you notice that house, it starts looking vacant. It's not getting mowed. That type of thing. Drop them a card. But yeah, I mean, $1,000 extra is still extra money.
Yeah, exactly. And handwritten notes, just drop it off in their house. Like, hey, I want to buy your house. Let's chat. You don't need a license to do that. So yeah, it's if you have a job that 9 to 5, you can do this an hour on Saturday. Just pick a day on Saturday to just drive around, see what the neighborhood's doing,
mm-hmm.
and try to find those properties that look distressed.
Yeah. And now, is this just a local thing, or is this something that you could help somebody do from anywhere? I mean, is this somebody, if somebody, let's say somebody from Missouri is watching the video and they want to find information about this, is this something that you can help them do there, or is this something that you kind of have to handle the San Diego areas, but you could put them in contact with somebody in the Missouri area?
Yeah, absolutely. So if they have questions, if anybody has questions, even though I'm here, the concept is the same nationwide. So they can reach out to me to get a basic understanding. They have great books about wholesaling. They even have wholesaling for dummies to really just break it down, make it really easy.
Yeah.
But definitely they want to start to get a team where they're at, of contacts like investors.
Right.
Now, investors are dime a dozen. They can find them anywhere. You just go to Google and you find cash home buyers. Those will be your number one leads to sell the contract to if they want to do wholesaling, and then partner up with a realtor to help you find out what's called the ARV, which is the after resale value. So if homes are selling for $500,000, you don't want to buy a fixer for $500,000. You
Right.
want to cap it at a much lower price point. And they'll help you navigate the local contracts there because every real estate contract is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, you want to get into contract, find an investor. If nobody buys it, then you have to have in your contract a way to get out, no penalties.
Sure, so you're not on the hook for it.
Yeah, it's real simple. Again, there's a lot of reading material out there they can read from.
Okay.
They can just also ask me as well.
Definitely. And we can, if you're okay with that, we can put your telephone number so that people can contact you if they're looking for a house. If they have a house that they're wanting to sell, I'm sure you would probably, like those leads as well. Is there anything that, if you're giving advice for somebody that's, I want to be a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Right. You've done it. You've already been through the whole process. What's the first step and the steps after that? I'd
say it really depends where you are in your life. So when I jumped into it, I had just got out of college. My girlfriend was living in another city. I was here by myself. I really had nothing to lose by just diving right into it, except maybe having to sleep on a friend's couch or something back in the day. But for those that are getting into it, that have family, kids, I would recommend if they're going to do the whole realtor thing and not this creative kind of ways of making money in real estate, if they're going to actually become a realtor, I would say join a team, get your license, join a team, and work the hours that you can work. You can definitely get away with not being in it 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally, you'll make more money doing that 24/7.
Right.
But I always recommend, don't just dump your 9 to 5 job, or if you have a source of income, ease your way into it, the game, join a team. They'll teach you all the right systems, the right methods to prospect, to meet people. You'll get that support.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're ready to branch off by yourself, then branch off for
Very
sure.
cool.
It's a fantastic way to ease into it without, sink or swim mentality.
Right. That you particularly took yourself.
Yeah. It was definitely. I mean, if I was, right now I'm married, I have a kid on the way.
Right.
I would not have done that.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. February due date. So,
Awesome.
So I recommend, if you're, depending on your living situation, ease into it, learn the game, and build up your clientele list. Learn what you can from the team, but then ultimately branch off on your own, because the team will definitely, depending on their commission splits, it may be more profitable for you to take off and do it yourself.
Yeah, and I forgot to ask you about the commission splits. That's an interesting little part of the equation as well. Real quickly, I mean, is that a difficult thing to wade through sometimes, whenever you've worked with somebody and now you have to split the commission? How does that? That's got to be uncomfortable sometimes.
Well, a lot of people think that they get that full commission chunk, and it's really not the case. It's actually, there's a lot of behind the scenes things going on with that money. So basically, a lot of your brokerages will take, let's say, okay, so you get a commission of, $10,000, give or take, right? So a $10,000 commission, your brokerage will usually take about 30%, so you're left with 7,000.
Mm-hmm.
Out of that 7,000, if your brokerage is one of the big brokerages, like a Remax, Keller Williams, you'll pay a royalty fee of anywhere between 4 to 6%. So there's another 6% taken off. And then if you have what's called a transaction coordinator or staff, you have to pay your staff. Then you have to reimburse the marketing costs, and then you get taxed, So out of that, you get the nice tax, anywhere between 20 to 28%, depending on where you're at.
Sure.
And then at the end of the day, because you're commission based, you pay your own health insurance, you pay your own expenditures.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot taken out of the commission. So it's really, at the end of the day, it's a volume game.
Yeah.
And then if somebody referred that client to you, then there's another 25% that goes to the referring agent. So, for all those thinking that the realtors get the full nice 10,000 big payday, not so much. There's a lot of deductions.
A lot of people waiting with a handout, waiting for their piece of that pie. But it's still a pretty good living, and it's something that obviously you enjoy doing. I mean, you can see it in the way that you work, the way you carry yourself. Definitely the first person that I thought of when thinking about interviewing a real estate agent was you, Justin. And not just because you're my friend, but because you definitely are top of the line when it comes to. So, I wanted to try. We're running a little bit out of time, but I wanted to try and talk a little bit about the VA home loans. You're very knowledgeable about that. So I'm just, I guess, what I'd like to do is just towards what I want to say. We'll stop this just for a second because I can edit this. Okay. But basically, real quick, we can talk a little bit about the VA loans, or I can just say, hey, if you want to talk about VA loans, he's an expert at it. And
I can give you like a quick 20-second VA spiel. Yeah. Okay. It's a great. Yeah.
Okay. So, Justin. Oh wait, let me do one.
Yeah.
So, Justin, could you tell me a little bit too about you? I know you specialize in VA home loans. Could you just give me a quick, since we're running out of time, give me some info on that?
Absolutely. The VA home loan is an outstanding program. It's really catered to veterans. It's for those that want to build wealth. I highly encourage you to take advantage of the VA loan. It's 0% down. Every city and every state's a little bit different with the limit. Here in San Diego, it's about just a little around 600,000 for a VA loan, 0% down. So the great benefits of that is that you can get yourself and your family into a house with 0 down. And then if for some reason something happens where you need to relocate, you can turn that property into a rental, or you can sell it and reuse your VA loan against somewhere else. So what a lot of my clients do is that they'll buy in one city, orders change, or they have to relocate. They rent that property out. They buy another place with a VA, and they do it again and again and again. So it's a fantastic way to really purchase real estate and to really start acquiring rental properties as well. Right. One last thing is that there is a VA limit, but anything above that limit, so let's say you exceed the VA limit of your, of your city or your town by, let's say, $10,000, right? So let's say the VA in your town is 500K, and the house is 510, and then 25% of that amount that you exceeded is going to be your down payment. So 25 bucks. So you can kind of, still go beyond the VA limit, right. But again, definitely take advantage of the 0% down. Let me know if you have any questions. It's kind of its own chapter in a way. So there's a lot to talk about.
Definitely. Well, listen, thank you so much, Justin. In conclusion, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, I'll make sure that I'm going to be putting, well, you'll also have justinsandiego.com. You can click on the link there. It's got a contact button if you need to contact Justin concerning any of your housing. If you're selling a house or you're looking for a house, he'd be more than happy to help you in the San Diego area. And but thank you for watching, and thank you for coming on with me and talking with me, Justin. I really appreciate you going into the details that you did.
Hey, any questions? Thank you.
What's that?
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know.
Okay, thank you, Justin.